If you're always trying to be normal, you'll never know how amazing you can be. Maya Angelou. Welcome to the Purple Positivity Podcast for September the 28th, 2018. I am your host, the amazingly adorable Rebecca Thistle, podcasting to you live-ish from my new used desk in my apartment, which I call Jeffrey Thistlework. Yes. Oh, that yas. I don't understand that. Anyways. So, yeah, I told y'all at the end of the last show, Wednesday show. I sort of like zonked out for a second. But I told you on the last show that I would explain to you why I say at the end of every show, fly with the penguins. So, I remember first starting to say this when I was about 16, 17 years old, something like that. And I think I was just doing it because I'm big on irony. I love contradictory ideas. And so it just sounded funny to me. But the more I said it, the more I started thinking about it. And the more I started thinking about it, the more I went, well, fuck, penguins do fly. I mean, we generally think as human beings of flying as going through the air. You're in the sky, in the air. So most birds fly. Penguins don't fly in the air, but you see them underwater, and they're the only bird I know of. I'm sure an ornithologist can, explain this to me. But penguins are the only bird that I know of that fly underwater. You see them underwater and they swim like nobody's business. And it's like flying for them. That's their version of flying. And so this actually sort of ties into the determination and a paperclip thing, is find a tool that'll help you reach your goals and use it alongside your determination. But when I say fly with the penguins, it's not necessarily about finding that tool. It's about finding the thing that makes you different. I think it was Christopher Titus, one of my favorite comedians of all time. By the way, quick plug, check out his podcast. The Christopher Titus podcast is fucking awesome. He's just got this really interesting way of looking at the world. And I think it was him that said in his special, Norman Rockwell is Bleeding, he said that it's never normal people who change the world. It's always crazy people who change things. It's never the people that, that grow up in a normal household, or even, a semi-dysfunctional household. But it's never the people that took the straight and narrow and the beaten path that changed the world. It's the people that went off the rails and found a new path or blazed a new trail themselves that changed the world. So it's, but so going back to flying with the penguins, find what makes you different and use that to propel you forward. Another comedian that I very much adore is a comedian named Brad Williams, and he is a little person. And he uses that in his comedy all the time, as I think almost anyone would. But he owns his disability, his pun intended shortcoming by, tall fucker perspective, his shortcomings, the thing that makes him different to propel him forward in life. And I mean, he may not be like the most well-known comedian in the world, but he's pretty well known. I was talking about him to one of my coworkers because I'd been listening to a couple of his albums at work, and she didn't know who he was. And I'd just been talking about him like she knew who he was, and she knew that he was a little person. And she kind of like just gets real quiet, and I said, "Oh, I should probably explain. He's a little person." Oh, okay. See, because I've never heard of that comedian, so I don't know what you're going on about. So, my iPad is running low on battery, and so I'm like freaking out a little bit over here. So yeah. But it's find what makes you different and use that to propel you forward. Now, in my own life, there's probably a lot of stuff that makes me different. The first thing that pops into most people's minds is my disability, just like with Brad Williams. I'm blind-ish, as I mentioned last week extensively. I prefer the term blind-ish. I don't like using just straight up blind, and I don't like using visually impaired. But I'm blind-ish, and so this gives me a different perspective on the world. But in all honesty, I think the one thing that sets me apart from every other person in this world is well, maybe not any other person in this world, because there are a lot of people that have this ability, but the thing that's going to help me stand out is I make connections in my head nobody else does. Nobody else does it. And I mentioned this on Wednesday's show. I make these connections. That's my paperclip. That's what makes me different. That's my tool that I use. And I have a really interesting way of verbalizing myself. I have a talent for writing. And I mean, I can point to the fact that I have purple hair, but that's a choice. That's not something that I innately have. I do not innately have purple hair. Actually, my hair is naturally blonde, in case you were wondering. It's like when I was a kid, it was so blonde. If you asked me what color it was, I would tell you it was white. I was platinum blonde as a kid. It was hilarious. I looked like because I also have really pale skin, so I blush very easily. So it looks like a tomato with like a Dolly Parton wig. Or, what we would see now as a Sia wig. Yeah, I looked weird. I was, I'm a good looking person. I don't mind saying it. But, but what sets me apart, I think, is this ability that I have not only to think differently, but to verbalize it in a way that people understand. I have this ability to take these huge abstract concepts or complex, not even abstract, sometimes some very concrete but complex subjects, and I'm able to distill them down into something very simple, and people go, "Oh, I never really thought of it like that." That ability is probably why a lot of people have told me my whole life that I should be a teacher. But everybody in my family is or was a teacher at some point in time. And I said, nope, not doing that shit. I see what teachers go through. You guys are heroes. You deserve way more than you are paid. But that is not a career path that I would find fulfilling. Not because of the financial reasons, but I just don't think I'd be emotionally fulfilled by that. I think it would be way too tedious, and I wouldn't be able to do justice to the children under my care. So I've never wanted to be a teacher. And I have an idea now of what I want to be, what I want to do. But you tell people what you want to do, and they kind of go, "Really?" Because it's ridiculous. Because it's out there. But you know what? Normal people don't change the world. Or or going back to the quote at the beginning of the show, if I'm always trying to be normal, I'll never find out how amazing I can be. You know, sometimes you gotta go another way. You gotta fly with the penguins. You gotta find what makes you different and use that to propel you forward. And you may not be like all the other birds, but fuck, that ain't gonna stop you. You're gonna live. They're gonna make fucking documentaries about you, narrated by Morgan Freeman. That's what I'm looking forward to. Oh, for the love of pantyhose. There is something really weird going on with my iPad. Okay, hopefully that fixed it. But yeah. Fly with the penguins. That's my motto in life. And I mentioned it to all caps. Someone was like, yeah, I'm going to talk about Fly with the Penguins on my podcast tomorrow. And he goes, what? Like, did not even know how to respond to that. And so I had to explain to him everything that I've just explained to you. And he goes, oh, okay, I get that. So, I don't know. I kind of want to get t-shirts made. By the way, the picture that the past couple of episodes, you know, that I've started with a quote, I've put a quote image with that quote in. This one, I've got an image of a penguin that I really love. And the reason I love that image is because this penguin looks like he's saying, what up, homie? And I was like, yes, that is my man right there. That is my main penguin right there. He just looks like, what up? Love that penguin. So, that's really all I have to say. That's what I mean when I say fly with the penguin. So, you know, I explained on Monday about creating what you deserve. Once you've done that, you can find what makes you different and fly with the penguins. There you go. So before I wrap up the show, let me get into the things for which I am grateful. Number one, I am grateful that I had a day off on Thursday. Oh my gosh. I got a little stuff done around the house that I've been putting off because I just come home and I'm like, oh, I'm too tired to do this shit. But I got it done today. It wasn't a lot, but I got it done. Most of it. I think the only thing that I didn't get done was washing my sheets and my pillows. But that's okay. I can start those tomorrow morning and then finish them up when I get home. Anyways, but yeah, I spent about half the day, I guess, just catching up on sleep. It was phenomenal and fabulous. And I watched about half of 2 different documentaries about Stonehenge, because Stonehenge, and it was a good day. So I'm grateful that I had that day off. I am grateful for pizza rolls. I went to Walmart the other day and I got me some bacon and pepperoni pizza rolls. They're fucking awesome. If you ever get the chance, I highly recommend getting you some bacon and pepperoni pizza rolls. They are the bomb. And I think I just dated myself. Such a 90s thing to say. And, and this isn't really like a silly food thing. I like to, throw in at least one silly food thing. This isn't really a silly food thing. But I'm grateful for green tea. So, part of the reason that I was sleeping half the day is, I woke up and my throat was really sore. It's still pretty sore. But, I had some green tea. I brewed it up. homebrew